Okay, welcome. Nice to have you here. Today, I would like to explore together with you what I believe is a very common and insidious belief. And I'd like to explore with you how I perceive that that belief is harmful and, importantly, what you could do differently that could allow you to free yourself of those harmful effects so that you can begin to experience a new kind of freedom in your life, a freedom that will allow you to start to enjoy life more consistently and more deeply. So if that sounds like something of interest to you, then stay tuned and we'll explore that. First of all, as usual, I want to just give a larger context of what the purpose and intention of this meeting is. So the larger context is that this is intended to be supporting self-knowledge. And the benefit of self-knowledge is that kind of fundamentally, I would say that it is the real purpose of your life. All the other things that you might do or understand or achieve or whatever might be the case in this life are, in my view, really in service of self-knowledge. And if you think about it, all the experiences that you have in life are temporary. They come and they go. All the things that you acquire are temporary. So it's all temporary. So might there be something that is not temporary? If so, then perhaps that which is not temporary would be you. So that's an interesting point in and of itself, just to consider. If you normally think of yourself as being something which is transient in nature, something which is changing, then it might be really interesting to contemplate the possibility that you are something more fundamental than that, something which is not transient. And then knowledge of that would probably be a higher value uh, than acquiring things which are transient. Not to say that the things which are transient are valueless, because that's certainly not what I am intending to suggest. It's not, that would not be consistent or congruent with what it is that I normally share. Uh, so I'm not at all suggesting that, but I am suggesting that uh, if we don't have a foundation in that which is unchanging, then all of the things which we might acquire, which are changing, are less valuable. So the the real intention here is self-knowledge, which gives you a platform or a foundation from which to begin to experience greater fulfillment in your life. It will help you to know who you are, what you want, what matters, what's real, things like that. So that is the larger context. And today I would like to, as I said, I'd like to explore a what I believe is a very common belief. And uh, before I tell you what the belief is, I want to mention to you that probably some of you will immediately recognize that you have this belief. And that will be great because then we can explore that and you'll recognize how it's applicable and useful for you. Some of you, though, might, upon hearing what the belief is, you might say, oh, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. Nothing could be further from the truth. And it's certainly possible that you don't have that belief, although I highly doubt it. Um, so I do invite you to keep an open mind, even if initially you think you don't have this belief. I'm not telling you you do, but I do invite you to keep an open mind and consider the possibility that you might. Um, because I really think that it is extremely common. And so, with that said, let me tell you what I think, what the belief is. The belief is that life is against me. Life is against me. So, as I said, many people will immediately recognize that you have that belief. Life is against me. And so, if you know that you have that belief, then you're in the right place because we're gonna explore that and perhaps, well, certainly invite you to the possibility of something new, which I think will be much more wholesome, much more useful. And if you think that you don't have that belief, then, like I said, keep an open mind because I think that you might be surprised to discover that you do have that belief. And then certainly what we explore will be useful to you. So uh, now, this belief that life is against me, of course, could show up in a lot of different ways. So you might not commonly often have that particular thought of life is against me. However, um, notice, do you ever have thoughts or fantasies about how you're going to end up, destitute, all alone, toothless, homeless, penniless, losing your health without love, these kinds of things? Any variations on the theme? Do you ever have the sense that you're all alone? That it's a struggle for you to eke out your existence? You ever have a sense that uh, like other people have what they need, but you don't? Maybe you have thoughts like it's unfair. Now, this is not meant to be an exhaustive list of the kinds of variants, but I would suggest that those are all indicators of the same kind of belief. So this belief, which I'm just gonna describe as life is against me. Um, this belief is, well, I mean, obviously I say obvious. I think it's pretty obvious that it's uh, quite uncomfortable, even painful to have that belief. If you are aware that you have that belief, you're probably aware that it occupies a lot of your time and energy. And so, really, actually, I think that at a fundamental level, what this belief does is it switches us into a mode of perception that alters quite significantly how we perceive what options we are able to recognize or acknowledge, um, and and our entire experience of life. So what I think it does is it puts us into a mode in which we feel unsafe. And when we feel unsafe, then we we large parts of our what's potential for us, a lot of the potential of our experience just gets shut down. Because if we feel unsafe, then our focus is going to be on how to avoid threats or how to uh, survive. And so we're not going to be in a good position, we won't be in any position whatsoever in order to actually truly sustain a, a a real sense of abundance, or to really accept our real inheritance as creative beings, as as vital, energetic beings, as uh, beings who have real immediate access to uh, connection and love. So I think that this belief is very impactful in a harmful way, and I think that it gives shape to, in a very significant way, to a person's entire experience of life. And a lot of people don't even know that this is what's going on for them. A lot of people don't even know that there's another way. And people just get locked into this mode of fear and survival. And so then what happens, and I get this I hear this kind of thing from people not infrequently. People kind of keep in their back pocket this idea that if things get too bad, then they can just find a way to die. And so, that's not it's definitely not coming from a place of security or abundance or prosperity or security or love. So, but I mean, and I mentioned that not to say, oh, shame on you. You should do something better. You should know better. It's not like that at all. It's just to say that it's just to point out that if that's something that you can relate to, if that's an experience that is familiar to you, that there is an alternative. There is another possibility, but it's one that you probably have not uh, sincerely recognized or had uh, convenient or ready access to in maybe in quite a long time. So this belief is, I think, well, as I said, I think it's insidious. So it spreads kind of secretly and silently, and people don't even know that it's happening. But it has a tremendous impact on people's lives. And if you think about it, I I will propose most likely most of us have the intention. I would say it's very unlikely anybody does not have the intention in life to have a sense of uh, certainty and confidence in being supported and knowing that it is possible to succeed in what really matters to each of us. Uh, when you say that that is an intention that you actually have, is to know that you can actually succeed in what matters most to you and that you are supported in that. And yet, um, this belief blocks us from actually fulfilling that, because if as long as a person holds a belief like that, even if it's not conscious, and usually it's not going to be conscious, but what that's going to do is it's going to, as I said, it's going to cause a person to be stuck in these modes of perception where they can't even recognize options that are available to them. And so they will then continue to perceive from a place of lack and fear and insecurity, because that's all that they're actually able to see due to that mode in which they're perceiving. So it becomes a situation where it is a person comes to believe that they have overwhelming evidence in support of the belief that life is against them because that's all that they are able to see. But they don't recognize that there's a tremendous amount that they're just not able to see at the moment. And so they have they're biased, in other words. So they people are walking around and they genuinely believe that they have this overwhelming evidence in support of their belief that life is against them. And they don't recognize that they're extremely biased. So, uh, and I think about it, it's sort of like, yeah, I don't know if this is the greatest analogy, but it's a little bit like we have, imagine somebody has a car, an automobile, a car, and uh, they don't know, they just don't, they never turn on the ignition. So the car is never on, it's never operating. And so the person with this car determines based on that car doesn't work, it's useless, uh, it's just it's a burden and all these things. It's it's not because the car is actually useless or burdensome or any of those things. It's just because the person doesn't know that they have the option of actually turning it on. And then to extend this metaphor a little bit, um, it can be because of that bias that then exists for the person. Imagine that then they're shown how to actually turn the car on. And at first, there's this momentary sense of, oh, wow, that's amazing. It's actually doing something. But then this person would say, uh, well, but see, it's still, despite the fact that it's making this noise, still doesn't do anything, right? Because they still have it in park. So because of their existing bias, where they are looking for more evidence that life is against them, their car doesn't work, nothing, it's just a burden, it's useless, then that's how they're going to perceive it. They're going to say, yeah, sure, it's making noise, but it doesn't do anything. See, it's just more evidence that this is a burden to me and it's useless. And and of course we could continue with that because continue to extend that analogy because even if put it showed the person how to change the shifter, then they put it into reverse and then they insist, well, look, not only is it it's worse than useless, it's dangerous, and on we go, right? They at every step, because of the pre-existing bias, then they're going to interpret things through that lens. So this is the situation that I'm proposing that many of us find ourselves in, due to this belief that life is against me. So we have this belief. The belief causes us to be stuck in a mode of perception. This causes us to accumulate a lot of biased evidence in support of the belief. And then we continue to collect more and more evidence because all the evidence that we collect just reinforces this mode. So we just get more and more entrenched in the mode. And no matter, more or less, no matter what happens, we will view that through this lens. So we just then accumulate more and more evidence in support of it. So it just becomes a uh, vicious cycle. And as a consequence, as I said, many people are keeping in their back pocket that if things get bad enough, then they can just escape through death, which I've already talked about before. I really think that that's a very, very short-sighted uh, way of thinking about things, and I think it's dangerous. I mean, if you think things, if you think things are bad now, be very cautious. Uh, so now I'll propose something very actually radically a radically different view, which I understand initially might be difficult to accept. But just notice that if you have if arguments come up in your mind against what it is that I'm about to propose, which they very likely will. In fact, you might find that your mind immediately goes to trying to seek out evidence that what I'm about to propose is incorrect. That would fit with what it is that I've just suggested, right? That if you have the belief and that causes you to be stuck in this mode of perception, which then causes you to seek out evidence and that reinforces that, basically just would be congruent with what I've just proposed, right? That if when I propose an alternative, that your mind would seek out arguments why what it is that I'm proposing is wrong. So just keep that in mind. Now, what I will propose to you is that it's really uh, quite the opposite. That life is for you. Life is for you, and uh, what this way of perceiving can do for you is that it can open you up to new possibilities instead of staying stuck. It can actually open you up. It can allow you to see new options. Can allow you to take new actions, and it can allow you to actually begin to find enjoyment and connection in life in a really new way. Uh, so I'd like to explore how it would be possible to actually begin to experience that. So that's key is to actually make that shift so that it's not just an intellectual idea, but it actually can be start to become an experienced reality. And so I'd like to actually invite you today to begin to have an experience of this. Now, if it's not something that's available to you today because maybe you're driving or something like that, then you won't be able to take full advantage of what I'd like to explore. You can still benefit, but to take full advantage to really gain the full benefits of what I'd like to explore today, it will be best if you can actually give your full attention to this exploration. And if you can even allow yourself to be fully supported and comfortable, that would be even better. So, for example, if uh, you could lie down, that would be a very nice way to actually explore some of the things that I'd like to explore for the remainder of this meeting. So if again, if that's not available to you right now, then that's fine. If that's not comfortable for you, that's fine. But if it is available, then I invite you to find a way to be that is most supported and comfortable for you now. And if you uh, need to move at any point, if you want to move, that's absolutely fine. And to the degree that it is comfortable for you to just settle in, I invite you to settle in so that you can allow yourself to really receive the support that's available here for you. So if you're lying down, to really receive the support of whatever you're lying on. If you're sitting, to receive the support of whatever you're seated on. And notice that you are breathing. Now you might find that at times you might be holding your breath, and if that happens, then you could just notice that. But generally speaking, notice that you are breathing. And if it's comfortable and convenient for you to breathe through the nose, then I invite you to breathe through the nose. If that's not comfortable or convenient for you, then that's okay. But as long as it is comfortable and convenient, then I invite you to breathe through the nose. And why? Because if you breathe through the nose, it will just naturally allow for the breath to become a little bit calmer without you trying to do anything. And just notice how you're breathing. And it might be useful, especially if you're lying down on your back. You could place a hand on your lower abdomen. If you're sitting, it could also be useful, as long as it's comfortable. So if it's not comfortable, you needn't do it. But if it is comfortable, then just allow a hand or both hands to rest on your lower abdomen. And just notice, without trying to force anything or change anything, just notice if and how your hand on the lower abdomen moves as you breathe. So I'm just inviting you to be aware. I'm not suggesting that you should be breathing in a particular way, but just to notice. And just notice what is the make that connection for yourself between how you notice your breathing, how you notice the hand moving, and then also notice your present state of feeling. Do you feel supported, connected, or not? So just make that connection for yourself. If there is any connection to be made, just notice. And then notice also just the felt sense within your abdomen, especially the lower abdomen. Does your just without trying to change anything, just notice what's happening there. What does it feel like internally? So just if you were to put your awareness there in your lower abdomen, what would you sense? You have a clear sense of what that is, or is it not clear to you? If you had words to describe what you notice there, what words would you use? So there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you notice. So just notice that. And are you able to sense any difference in the quality of the sensation in the lower abdomen between the inhalation and the exhalation? So I'm just inviting you to notice. It's not a right or wrong answer. It's just to notice whatever you notice. So maybe you don't notice any difference. Maybe you do notice a difference. You perceive it as comfortable, it's a sense of ease. And whatever you find is totally fine. So there's no, I'm not suggesting that you need to have any judgment of it. I mean, if you have judgment, that's okay. But this is not an exercise in judgment. It's just to just notice whatever you notice. Now, what happens if you just begin to invite the possibility of more ease, more comfort in the lower abdomen as you are breathing? So there's no need to try and control the breath or force anything. Just invite through your intention more ease and comfort in the lower abdomen as you breathe. Some of you might find that that's easy to do. And if you find that it's easy to do, some of you might find that that's quite enjoyable. Some of you might find that it's easy to do, and maybe you'll not be sure whether you like it or not. Some of you might find that it's challenging. And whatever your experience is, it's useful because it helps you to know something about yourself, about your experience, about what you're doing, how you do it. So I suggest just treating this as something to be curious about. So it's not about succeeding or getting the right answer or achieving whatever you think you're supposed to achieve, but rather just to learn something which is valuable to you. even if you don't yet know how it's valuable. But I can assure you it is valuable. And then you might notice what's changed in your experience. So, does your hand move differently now with the breath? Is your subjective experience of yourself different? Do you have a sense of, I don't know, just find out what's different, what's changed, and some of you may find that this is quite enjoyable. Some of you might find that you're much more at ease. You might find that your quality of thinking has changed, maybe slowed down, maybe a sense of being more open, free, more of a sense of possibility. And some of you might have a different experience. Some people will be so habituated to that state of not being at ease that they might find it challenging to actually settle down. And if that happens, then just notice that it's okay. And remember that this is totally up to you. So you're in charge. If you wish to move, you're welcome to move in whatever way you want. So there's no, I'm not asking anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. So keep that really clear for yourself that this is completely a voluntary thing and it's just so that you can discover something about yourself. So you're always free to choose whatever you wish in this moment. Now, for those who would like to do this, then I would like to also invite you to use your imagination. And I'm using the word imagination in the broadest sense. So you can use your imagination by thinking or by visualizing or by whatever other means might be available to you. So there's no one set way of doing it. It's whatever's available to you. So be comfortable with the process. And I'm mentioning this because sometimes people get hung up on thinking that there's one right way of imagining, and they think, oh, I can't do that. I'm not good at it. Yet I assure you, you're perfectly good at it. You do it all the time. It's how you create your experience. So you're constantly doing it. And I'm just inviting you right now to do it consciously And what I'd like to invite you to do is something which for some of you will be easy, and for some of you it might initially be more challenging. And either way is okay. If you are somebody who finds it challenging, then just be gentle with it, be easy with it. Find out how much easier could you make it. So remember, when I say imagine, I'm using that term in the loosest sense. So no matter what you do, I can assure you, you will be successful with it because I'm using the term so loosely that as long as you engage sincerely, you will succeed. So just let it be gentle and easy, as easy as possible. So let go of expectations that you might have about what you should experience. And so here's what I'd like to invite you to imagine. I'd like to invite you to imagine that you are in a place in which you feel completely at ease, a place that is very delightful for you. So it could be a place that you've been in your life, or it could be a place that is completely imaginary. Could be a place that you've imagined before, or it could be a place that you're imagining for the first time now. So it's completely open to you. And it's possible that for some of you, a very clear sense of this place will come to you. And for some of you, it may be that there are different places that come to mind, or different elements of different possibilities. And whatever the case may be, just allow yourself to trust in the process, and in whatever way is easiest and most comfortable for you, just to settle with one place, which is a place that you can imagine being comfortable, a place that you can imagine is delightful. And if you happen to find that you have any kinds of anxious thoughts that arise, then just remind yourself that this is purely an imaginative exercise, and that you can succeed. In fact, you are succeeding. So it's up to you how you do it. And you can allow yourself to let go of any anxious or unnecessary thoughts which might arise, because you can just remind yourself that this is for you. It's your exercise for yourself. So you can allow yourself to make it simple and easy and enjoyable. And if that's not yet something that is familiar to you, then that's useful information. That just tells you that you've been in the habit of thinking in anxious ways. And yet, all the more reason to begin to practice thinking and imagining in ways which are delightful to you, ways which feel good to you, ways which are relaxed and easy. And that's completely up to you. So you can just allow yourself to focus on those thoughts, those images, those aspects of this imagination which you find to be comfortable and supportive. And anything else you can allow yourself to let go of because this is just an imaginative exercise. So it's completely safe. There's nothing that you need to actually figure out or solve. It's just for you right now to allow yourself to imagine a place that is delightful to you and in which you feel comfortable and safe. And since this is in your imagination and you are in complete control of your imagination, then you can absolutely succeed in this. So if you are somebody who has thoughts such as, I cannot succeed in this, then just remind yourself that this is completely in your imagination where you have the complete control, so you can succeed. It may just take some practice. And again, if you find it necessary or useful or supportive at any point, you can just be aware of your natural breathing, the way in which your hand moves, if your hand is on your lower abdomen. And you can allow and invite that ease and comfort in the lower abdomen. So it's just an invitation. There's no attempt to force anything or coerce anything, but just offering an invitation. And notice how, when you offer that invitation, sooner or later, there is a change. So, this exploration, which I've been inviting you to over the last 20 minutes or so, is one in which you actually are helping yourself to discover that you can make that shift for yourself to the direct discovery of the support that you have. So I could talk all day about the support. I could itemize all of the ways in which you were supported. And on a certain level, you might agree with that. And yet, it's unlikely that that would really shift anything substantially in terms of your experience. And yet, what you may notice is that by just exploring in this way that I've been inviting through your own direct experience, not thinking a lot about it, but just exploring, you may actually find that you have a felt shift in your experience. You may find that you experience more openness, more ease, more of a sense of support, more of a sense of possibility, more access to that possibility. And my proposal is that practicing this regularly will be very helpful because it can allow you to start to make that shift on a regular basis, which will allow you to have increasing evidence that life is for you. And the more of that evidence you have, and the more, well, I would say the more evidence you have, the more likely you are to allow yourself to experience from that way of perceiving, and then that will allow you to have more evidence. So it starts a virtuous cycle. So just to review what it is that I've been inviting you to and how you could make use of this. I've proposed that uh, an underlying belief that life is against me is uh, responsible for and a vicious cycle which tends to accumulate more and more evidence in support of that belief, which blocks the person who has the belief from perceiving other options that are available to them, and uh, and just keeps a person stuck in a vicious cycle. And as an alternative to that, what I've proposed is that the regular exploration of the direct experience of ease can help to shift that in a positive way. And there are lots of ways of doing that. What I've guided you through today were some really simple things that, when done regularly, can be very helpful. Now, and just to recap what those things were. So the first thing was just to notice your breathing and to invite more ease and comfort in the lower abdomen. And really, really important here is that it's just an invitation. So if you attempt to force that, if you, as many people will make the mistake of doing, many people will make the mistake of thinking, oh, I know what I should be, I should experience more ease and comfort in the lower abdomen. Therefore, I'm going to force more ease and comfort in the lower abdomen. They'll come up with various strategies for doing that, which on the surface seems somehow to be a good idea, but it actually will work against you. So it's really honestly just to invite that possibility. So this is done through intention and awareness, and it's not done through force, which for some of us will be extraordinarily difficult at first, which again, I think speaks to how habituated many people are to the state of I'm not safe, life is against me. Because from that point of view, there's a constant need to fix something, to do something aggressive in order to solve the problem. And the what I'm proposing is very different from that. It's really just setting the intention, being aware, and allowing. And through that, you'll notice that things start to unravel and open up. But it's like a blossoming. You cannot force it. You have to allow for it. So you can set the conditions and then allow for it. The second thing that I suggested or guided was to use imagination to imagine a place in which you feel very comfortable and at ease and safe. And I there are certainly times and places for uh, acknowledging what it is, how it is that you've been imagining the problem so that you can make changes to that. There's absolutely time and place for that. And I'm not proposing that there's not. However, I am suggesting that regularly using your imagination to imagine being in a place where you feel at ease and comfortable and safe can be very useful because it can help you to just start to acclimate to that and recognize that that is available to you. And it may well be that it's not something for many people, it may not be something that you have, uh, it may be a very unfamiliar experience to you at this point in your life. So to actually allow that can be very uh, useful in terms of bringing more balance and uh, restoring your sense, your connection to those possibilities in your life. This will allow you, you will turn back on things in your life that will allow you to recognize options that previously were invisible to you. So it can be really powerful. And yet, I do know that uh, it's quite different from the way that many of us are accustomed to doing things. Many of us are accustomed to a very aggressive approach, and this approach of very gentle exploration uh, does not seem to give those kinds of dramatic results in the same way, and so we may be dismissive of it and think, "Oh, this couldn't. This it's too weak. It couldn't really work. It's not strong enough for my problems. My problems are really big. Therefore, I need these really big, dramatic kinds of solutions." Whereas, actually, in fact, it's completely the opposite. In many ways, we could say the more the the bigger the problems that you think you have, the more dramatic your problems, the more serious your problems. Probably you need what I'm proposing here more than anything else. Of course, you can only find out by putting that to the test in your life, which I certainly invite you to do. If you choose to do so, I would appreciate hearing from you to know what you notice in your life as results. Uh, so please do let me know. And so if you're still, lying down and you're enjoying that, feel free to continue to do that for as long as is comfortable and convenient for you. When you choose to uh, shift to some different position or state for whatever reason, then I invite you to do that mindfully so that you can just integrate this knowledge and experience in as good of a way as possible. So just be mindful about the transitions that you make. So instead of flinging yourself around, see if you can remain aware of your breathing. See if you can allow yourself to move in ways that are comfortable for you. You might be surprised to notice how many of your habits of the ways in which you move and transition in your life are mm, aggressive and somewhat violent, and might be quite delightful to notice that you have options. Like you could choose to allow yourself to move in ways that are more comfortable for you. There's a lot to explore in that. So much to explore. I will refrain from indulging in saying more about it right now, but of course we could explore it in subsequent meetings. For now, we'll wrap up here. For those who are here live, we'll stay on for the group coaching. For those who watch this on YouTube, just a few words of parting. First of all, if you would like to join these meetings live, I invite you to do so. You can get the information so that you can join live by signing up on my website, and whatever you find, whatever opportunity you find on the homepage of my website at joeylott.com to sign up. When you sign up there, you will get access to uh, the information to join these meetings live. So, for example, right now, I'm offering on the homepage a free ebook which covers 5 of the fundamental laws that govern creation. And when you sign up for that, in addition to getting the ebook, you will also get the information emailed to you so that you can join these meetings live. Um, so that's the first thing. And by the way, but when you do join live, then you have the opportunity to stay on for the group coaching, which follows, which is a great opportunity. So if you have questions or if you have something that you would like to be coached through in a group setting, then this is a great opportunity for that. So I encourage you to join. And then for those who are interested in my support in achieving greater fulfillment in your life and discovering how you can better manage your energy and achieve the things that you want to achieve in harmonious ways, you may be interested in the Manifesting Truth program, which is a paid program that I offer. And you can get more information about that by going to joeylott.com/manifesting-truth. I will provide the link to that in the description. And for those watching on YouTube, I'm going to end this recording. So blessings to you. Bye for now.